Deborah would take up for Justin, even the drinking part. Becky did not want to be the only one to raise the family, to support the family.
While Becky works full-time as a hairdresser, Justin continues to spend his days drinking. Meanwhile, Deborah becomes more controlling. She seizes every opportunity to insert herself into her grandson Kobe's life.
Deborah wanted to be the center of attention in all aspects of Justin and Kobe's life. She didn't want Becky to be the queen bee. She wanted to be number one in Kobe's life, not mom. Kobe was basically a replacement for Justin, because Justin was actually drinking himself to death.
Deborah wants to spoil Kobe, just as she did Justin.
What are you doing?
I got some lollipops for Kobe.
Deborah and Becky begin to argue constantly.
Why would you get lollipops for Kobe? I said no more candy.
How dare you tell me what I can and can't give to my grandson?
No more candy means no more candy.
I can give him whatever I want. I'm the one who's raising him.
Becky worries that her son's being spoiled rotten. But that's not the only problem. Becky tells her sister that Deborah watches her every move, even eavesdropping on her phone calls.
No, I feel like I'm constantly being spied on.
Becky was allowed to talk for about maybe 5 minutes on speakerphone, and she had to go.
Becky, get off the phone. You've been on long enough. I need to use the phone.
I gotta go.
She wouldn't let her talk to me or anybody.
Becky feels like a prisoner in her mother-in-law's home.
Becky was working, coming home, cleaning the house, doing all the laundry, doing the dishes. Nobody in the house was doing anything, and she was so frustrated.
Becky is at the end of her rope and ready to move out of the house. But then she discovers that she's pregnant again. She decides to stay and try to work things out.
When Becky found out she was pregnant again, she told Justin, and they were excited. But they still had their fights.
This just isn't working anymore.
She had issues with me drinking, and so I quit. And we were great. There was no fighting, there was no yelling.
Thank you.
All it was love.
That peace doesn't last long. Justin begins drinking again. And the cries of their newborn daughter, Cricket, aren't the only screams in Deborah's crowded house.
Their relationship, Becky and Justin's, was going downhill.
I don't know how you can be so selfish and so stupid. What did you...
He would yell at her, and it would hurt her and start crying. She wanted the marriage to work because she loved him, but didn't like what he was doing.
After another year of endless chores and endless fighting, Becky tells her family that she's ready to leave Justin, whether he likes it or not.
Becky wanted to move out of the home. Justin didn't want to because he would have to leave his mother behind. He was married to Becky, he loved Becky, but it was his mother that he wanted to please.
But Justin's mother isn't going to let Becky take her grandchildren without a fight.
Becky started calling me and telling me that Deborah was threatening to take Kobe away.
She says I'm unfit. What is that supposed to mean?
She wanted all the love that Kobe had for her only.
On November 13, 2009, Becky Dillard is on her way to her sister Sarah's 21st birthday party.
It's okay.
She and Justin fight about her going and whether he should go with her.
Talk to me. What are you doing?
Finally, Becky leaves the house alone and vanishes into the night.
Sarah called, and Becky hadn't made it. Something was wrong.
What are you doing?
On November 13, 2009, Becky Dillard heads to her sister Sarah's 21st birthday party.
Becky was fashionably late a lot of times on like family get-togethers and whatnot. We started calling to see if she was coming or not. She said she was coming, she still ran late.
2 hours later, Becky hasn't shown up at the party. They can't reach her on the phone, so they call Justin. Where is Becky Dillard?
Sarah called, and Becky hadn't made it.
She's still not here.
I told my mom that I didn't feel right. Something was wrong.
Justin, along with his mom, Deborah Dillard, drive the route between the house and the party to see if Becky's truck broke down. they don't find Becky. It's as if Becky Dillard has vanished into thin air.
Is she here? Is Becky here?
Justine started carrying on and having a fit. They're all drama queen and act like an idiot.
A half hour later, a motorist calls 911 to report seeing a young woman lying next to a vehicle on the side of the road. It's Becky Dillard. And she's dead. At first, it seems like some sort of terrible car accident has occurred. Then a sheriff's deputy makes a gruesome discovery.
When he went up there and looked at Becky's body, he realized that there was a gunshot injury to her head, and she may have been murdered.
Debbie Talbert?
The sheriff delivers the devastating news to Becky's family.
And they sat me down, and they told me that Becky was gone.
I busted into tears, and the first thing that came out of my mouth, where's Justin?
Authorities are asking the same question.
So tell me everything you remember about last night.
When we heard that Becky may have been thinking about leaving Justin, we started investigating that angle.
Why did you bring me in here? My wife is dead.
I was in shock. It crushed everything I had. Everything I was just lost. I had to tell my children that they didn't have a mom anymore.
But it's Justin's mother, Deborah, who seems to take the terrible news the hardest.
She kept saying it over and over, my baby's dead, meaning Becky. Because Becky was just as important to her as I am.
As news of the murder spreads, people in the town of West Plains, Missouri, start talking.
Somebody had driven by and had observed Becky's vehicle parked on the side of the road, and immediately behind her was a green pickup truck with a white door.
A quick check of DMV records comes up with a surprising match to the pickup. Deborah Dillard's boyfriend, Billy Eastep, owns the same model of green truck. Investigators are convinced this is no coincidence.
He had just replaced the door with a white door the day before, and Deborah Dillard used that vehicle quite a bit.
Both Deborah and Billy are brought into the sheriff's office for questioning. Billy tells investigators he took medication that night that made him pass out, and he never left the house. But Deborah tells a different story. She says Billy left the house that night right after Becky, saying he was going to the convenience store. She says when he returned, he whispered a cryptic message in her ear.
Got it covered. Got your back.
Deborah Dillard said that after Billy came home and said, "I've got your back," he took his clothes and put them in the washer and put some bleach in there and washed his clothes, which, according to Deborah Dillard, indicated that he had killed Becky.
Based on Deborah's statements, Billy is arrested and charged with first-degree murder.
I didn't think he did it. Why? Why would he hurt her? There was no reason for him to do this.
Billy is behind bars, but Deborah Dillard is still talking.
They don't have their facts straight.
She starts making strange new allegations.
She started telling people that she felt responsible for Billy sitting in jail.
Rumors begin circulating around town that Deborah is telling people that she was the one who killed her daughter-in-law. But rumors and hearsay aren't enough to make an arrest. Then investigators are handed hard evidence.
Deborah Dillard had written a letter to one of Billy Eastep's friends, and in that letter she admitted that she's the one that actually got out of the vehicle and shot Becky in the back of the head.
That letter is given to authorities, who take a closer look at Deborah Dillard. And the next time she visits Billy at the jailhouse, they eavesdrop.
You need to be strong.
She was crying, upset, and she told him that he didn't have to cover for her anymore.
Hey, honey, you use your head.
Billy kept saying, "What are you doing? What are you saying?"
Stop that. Stop talking like that right now.
She goes, "You know what I'm saying. I did it. It's me. It was all me."
Deborah is arrested and charged with murder. Investigators piece both Deborah and Billy's stories together to determine what really happened that night on the side of the road.
This is it. I've had enough of
As
this.
Becky prepared to leave for the party, she and Justin had fought bitterly.
You're a drunk mess.
In fact, she'd given him an ultimatum.
If you don't get your act together, I'm gonna take the kids and I'm gonna leave
No,
you.
come on, stay here. What are you doing? Don't get upset with me. Damn it!
When Becky stormed out of the house, both Deborah and Billy followed her, enraged by her threats to take the children with her.
They stopped her by flashing their lights. Becky recognized the vehicle, so she stopped.
You stay here. I'm going to take care of this.
Deborah told her that Justin was ready and he wanted to go to the party.
Go back home and pick him up.
She needed to come back to the house.
Are you kidding me? So now my night's ruined and I have to go pick him up.
When Becky turned around, Billy said he saw Deborah hold out her gun and shoot her in the back of the head.
Deborah's motive was to make sure that Becky didn't leave with the kids, because if Becky had left, she would never get to see Cricket or Cubby. It did disgust me. It was like, wow, she would actually murder her?
Deborah Dillard is convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison without parole.
When Deborah was found guilty, I was ecstatic. I was crying. She was bawling. I could care less what she was doing, but I did notice that was about the only time she was crying.
She had no remorse.
Deborah's boyfriend, Billy Eastup's charges are reduced to conspiracy to commit murder. He is sentenced to 10 years in prison. Justin Dillard was never linked to the murder of his wife. He still believes his mother is innocent, trapped by her own misguided lies.
My mother did not kill my wife. If for 1 second that I believed that my mother did this, I would hate her. And I would want her to be in jail forever.
Deborah Dillard's jealousy destroyed more than Becky's life. No one in the small town of West Plains will ever forget what happened.
What stays with me was how cold this was done, out in the middle of a highway where it's not very well traveled, and she could have laid out there for quite a while, possibly all night before she was discovered.